bird on a tree. I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Police Bike. Today is actually pretty interesting, I guess. I don't know. It'll be fun to discover. I'm just going to be changing the brakes on the front brakes on my VFR800. It's a 2015 VFR800 Interceptor. It should be pretty simple. It really shouldn't take all that long. I already did the rear brakes. That truck is loud. Let's see. So I already did the rear brakes. I don't know if you can see them. You can kind of see like the copper or bronze look. So that wasn't too bad. It didn't take all that long. It took a little bit of ingenuity to get the rear tire suspended so that I could actually get it off and get the brakes off. That took a little bit of time, and I will kind of show you how I did it, but I really don't want to risk the bike falling over because it almost did when I did this. But yeah, so we're just gonna have some fun. We'll get the front brake replaced, or both of the front brakes replaced, and I'm gonna be sweating a lot. So this will be fun, and you guys are just gonna be along for the ride, or the journey, yeah. This is going to be pretty interesting. I'm just going to set the camera down, and then maybe I'll explain how I'm setting the bike up here in just a second, because I just can't hold the camera while I do it at the same time. So I'll set the camera up, and then you guys will be able to see kind of how I lift the back up. So I'm kind of just using this steel rod and pushing it out to the back, pushing it through the center, and then this Freedom stand is gonna push the back up. So now the whole bike is actually super rigid. It's not gonna go anywhere. I haven't had any issues with this at all, like coming off or doing anything funky. It feels very stable. The front is a little bit more interesting. As I'm pulling the bike up, it kind of wants to like go lean to one side, but it should be fine. No, this right here is not the proper way to put your bike up on a stand, or at least not the, come back camera, there we are. It's not the proper way to do the rear, but I don't have $200 some odd for the rear stand, so I'm kind of jimmy rigging it for now. But let me set the camera down, and then you'll be able to see how I put the front up. It's pretty standard. It's like every bike. All right, perfect. So now the rear of the bike, I don't know if you can see it. Now the front and the rear are both suspended up, so got free movement, and I should be able to get the calipers off and replace the pistons. And then I'll show you the tool that I got that'll help that process go a lot faster. All right, so right here I've got the EBC brakes. It's the double HTM. These are the front brakes for a VFR800. If you're wondering what the model number is, it's an FA, here, let me set it down so I'm not so shaky, FA390HH. That's for the 2015 VFR800. I'm sure it fits other models as well. It took me a little while to actually find these though. That was annoying. This one's got duct tape on it because yeah, it came apart. And then this is the tool that I need. I think it was only like 15 bucks, something like that. There was another one that was a lot more expensive. I'm really hoping that this one will actually work so I don't have to go get the other one. But essentially what this tool does is it will, yeah, this is difficult to do with one hand. Basically these two clamps come together and then you put it inside the caliper, and it will spread the pistons back. It'll reset them back to inside so that you can put the new pads in, because the new pads are going to be quite a bit thicker than the old ones that you had on there, or hopefully not too much, because that means you let them go for too long, and I definitely let these go for too long. So let me go grab the tools. I think this is a 15 millimeter if I'm not mistaken, and then this is an Allen. I have no idea what size it is, probably a 10. I don't know. I'll have to let you guys know once I figure that out. I'm gonna go grab the tools though. Let me see you guys over there. To be honest, I have no idea if you can actually see me. I've got the drill just to make it easier to take it off. You don't really want to use that to put the stuff back on. But I sometimes use it just to get stuff off. I'm gonna make sure this is a 5, I believe. Yeah, so this is a number 5 for the Allen. And then I got this little cheater bar because sometimes this is just not enough leverage. It would be nicer if I had longer ones. I just don't have them, so. Let's see, I believe this is a 9/16, but okay, so it's a 14 millimeter. Let's see, 14. Oh, it is 9/16. Okay, so 9/16. Could have sworn it was a 14. This isn't even a 14 millimeter. This is a 7/32. All right, whatever. I'm just gonna use the 9/16 to get these off. And this one's a little bit simpler than the rear. These two bolts hold the brakes in. I'll see if I can show you that outside. So these two bolts that drive in, they'll go through here and hold the calipers in place while they're in the caliper, and then these just hold the whole bracket to the whole caliper to the wheel. All right, let's see if I can get this off. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just loosening these because if they're tight before I take the caliper off, it's not going to be easy to take them out. That's why I loosened them before I'm getting this off. All right, and here we go. Let's get this guy off of here. Lefty loosey. There we go. It might look like I'm struggling to get this off. I'm not. I don't want to tip the bike over. There we go. It's not too difficult. All right, and I'm definitely not going to be able to get the drill over here to help take these off, so I'm just going to do it by hand. I really wish I had a shorter 9/16, because this is going to be annoying. There we go. I'm going to set these in this little box so that I don't lose them. And this whole thing is just gonna pop out. The fun part is gonna be getting it out. There we go. Very slowly take that out. All right, and there we go. So those are the old ones. I got a little bug in there. That's interesting. They're not terrible, but they are kind of falling apart. So it's a good thing that I'm doing this right now. All right, and then we got to get these guys out. That's why I loosened them before, because otherwise they're going to be too difficult to get out. Yeah, I guess I'll just spin them around, but there's not a whole lot to them. So right about there is where it should be. There we go. Should be good. All right, let's pull these guys out. And a good thing to do is just have them in order of how you took them out, just in case that they might be slightly different. All right, perfect. So that's the old brake pad. It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm gonna set this here for just a second. It's not too heavy for the brake line, so it should be okay. Then this black back plate you need to remember to take off. This one already fell off, so it's right here. But you need to remember to take those off because they need to go on the new ones. This is a Tokiko. I'm probably butchering the way to say that. Oh, I bet you guys can't even see this, can you? The Tokiko TT2511HG. These are actually really good pads. I've liked these. I believe these are the factory ones. They should be, because I haven't replaced them before. I'll be right back. I'm going to go get this brake dust off my hand. All right, so I'm going to start working on this. I should have put these gloves on before I started working on this. Brake dust is not very good for you, but all right, so this is going to be the interesting part, because I've got to get this in there and separate the pistons. There we go. I'm going to spread them out just a little bit. See if we can get them in there. That is almost perfect. There we go. All right, I've got them all in there. Okay, thank you, tool. That's not the best tool in the world, I've got to say, but it did do a pretty good job of putting back in there. So I'm going to wipe these off with some alcohol-based cleaner. And something to mention, there is a clip down in here that helps spring the brakes into place and keep them there. Make sure that does not pop out, or if it does, put it back, because that is important. You do need that support. And all right, this isn't the most important part that needs to be clean, but I like to get it clean. But it's not necessarily the most important thing to have clean, so I don't know. To each his own, I guess. I'll put you down just a little bit. All right, let's put the new pads in there. Remember, the metal back plate is what goes and touches the caliper. What's nice about the brake calipers on here is it has a guide, so it's pretty difficult to put these in the wrong way, unless you're dumb and you think that the pads go to the pistons. You really, just don't do that. All right. And the other part about that clip is, when you have them in here and you have them in here correctly, it'll kind of hold them up against the wall. And I don't know if you can see this, but it does spring a little bit. There's a little bit of a spring to it, and that's the back plate. And it holds it in place so that when you go to put in these guys back in, they will be already set up in your favor. All right. Another thing to note on the back side here, see if I can actually show you this. I'm gonna pull this back out. This is gonna be interesting. Give me just a second. All right, right here. So there's this little pin right here. I don't know if you can see that, it pushes in. That helps keep this supported as well. So as you're pushing the calipers in, and you're putting this through, you push that down and it'll go all the way through. Same thing with the top side, but I don't think it's going to be a little bit more difficult to show you that one. Push down on the calipers, push the pin in, and you hold that little thing down. That way you can get the whole thing back in there. All right, I'm going to start tightening these up. Oh shoot, I don't think you guys saw any of that. There's this little pin there, but all right, I'm going to start getting this back in here. Not going to put them all the way tight because I can't. I have to do that once the caliper is already back on. All right, so I'm going to see if I can show you this. Might be slightly difficult. Wait till that car goes back. So there is quite a bit of a gap here now, and pushing those pistons back created this gap. So my index finger can almost go all the way through, which I think is like probably 6 millimeters, I'm not sure, maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. And that just allowed this to just slide all the way back on. Nice thing about what Honda did here is there's this little piece here that sticks out so that when you put the caliper back on, you put it on perfectly. It doesn't, you don't have to mess around with whether or not you're putting it on there perfectly, correctly, and stuff like that. Sorry about this camera work, it's not very good. I was hoping that somebody could help me do the camera work, but he wasn't available, so sorry about that. All right. And one thing I did before all of this was I used brake cleaner to clean off the the caliper, the disc, the brake disc, and the caliper. So there shouldn't be any other residue, and there shouldn't be any grease or anything. I also cleaned the whole bike before I did that. So hopefully that helps when this, goes back on the bike and I start using it again. And the wear-in period, I believe, is 100 miles. So just be wary of that. All right, here we go. Put these guys back in here. Give it a couple threads on the top, a couple of threads on the bottom. I do suggest thread lock, but I don't have any, so I will probably go get some at the store later today when I go get the same thing with the grease, or the brake, oh my god, the chain cleaner and stuff like that. I'm gonna go get that later on as well, and I'll just get everything at the same time, come back and do this, but it should be fine for right now, but I suggest getting it before. I just needed to get this done before I go anywhere. Brakes were not working super well. Alright, I'm not going to snug this one down yet. Just going to get it snugged up to the point where it's grabbing. Now, especially when you're putting these back on and there's no tension while you're threading this through, definitely get thread locker, because there needs to be some kind of resistance as you're putting it in there. If there's no resistance, the thing is just going to come back out. And I believe in torquing stuff down, but my torque wrench broke and I don't have $80 to go spend on getting one. So I'll put the torque specs up on the screen real quick, and that's what you should do it to. But I do know that these are pretty easy to break the threads on the inside of this piece here. I cannot remember exactly what this is made out of. I believe it's cast aluminum. Cast aluminum with a steel bolt, it'll shred if you over tighten it. So you just need to make sure it's 20 foot-pounds, 15 foot-pounds, which is pretty tight. But just if you've never had experience pulling stuff apart before and you're not sure what it feels like, definitely get a torque wrench. Even if you're experienced, you can strip threads and strip a bolt just because you're over tightening stuff. But yeah, so that's basically it. I still have to do the other one, but I'm probably not going to show that on camera. It's the exact same steps. Literally just undo those pins. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's do those pins real quick, because I don't want to forget to do that. Great camera work, right? This is what I was talking about, this size 5 Allen here. There we go. I'm just going to use the little cheater bar here to nug it up just a little bit more. I'm going to get this in a different position. There we go. I like this bar just because it's got a little bit more of a, it's got an angle to it so that I'm not hitting the plastics. There we go, and that's tightened up. I believe that's 12 foot-pounds. That might be too much. I don't know, I'll have to check the specs again. But essentially, that's it. So hopefully that helps you guys put together the front brakes on your bike, and hopefully that was informative enough. Sorry, so yeah, so that's basically it. Hopefully that helps anybody trying to do the front brakes on your VFR800. And you know, bikes are pretty similar with the way that they're put together, so that should help just about anybody with their bike, especially Hondas. They're pretty similar. This bike takes a couple of specialized tools, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's all right. But yeah, so see if I can get this going. Yeah, that's the bike. It's all put together. Nothing crazy special. It's all clean, looks good. This I just need to put some motor oil on and then go to the store and get some actual chain lube, I guess. And our 10W40 works pretty well as long as you're cleaning it regularly and making sure that it's good to go. I like to spray it down with WD-40 to clean it out and then use a pressure washer to get all the grime and then respray it. Works really well and it's a lot faster. But anyway, that's not really what this is about. This is about the brakes. This was a bit different. I'll just talk about this for a second. The rear brake was quite a bit different. I had this guy going through to here, the pole, but then both hinges were on this side and I had weight on it to keep the bike on this side. It still wasn't enough, so I braced it underneath with a car jack with a piece of wood so that I didn't damage anything, and that kept the bike up. So that this piece was suspended and this whole back piece here didn't, it was actually off the ground, but if this had fallen, it would have stayed, you know, it would have been fine. It would have landed on this, and I probably would have had just enough time to stabilize it and keep it from wobbling. And then I put that guy on it to keep it even more stable. And then I just took this back wheel off, cleaned all of the brake disc, with brake cleaner, and took the caliper off. This one was way easier once you have the wheel off to just, I mean, I wonder if you could technically do it. You could technically do it without taking the wheel off, but my issue was I was thinking it would hit the bottom here, like it wouldn't come, there wasn't enough clearance, and I have a feeling that's true. I don't think there's enough clearance. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. So appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully this works, and next video, I have a feeling will probably be when I'm already in Kansas City, Missouri, because I'm moving in a couple of days. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the Grom video out. Reason being is Bryce, the guy who owns it, wrecked it, and not like totaled it, but dropped it and he got a little bit hurt, so the bike was hurt. And he was supposed to take it to the shop today and get that all figured out, but I don't think he's gonna have it in time for me to be able to do a review, because I still have a couple of days of work right up until I leave, and I still have to pack and all that stuff and edit videos and all that jazz. So the next video will probably be me just, you know, you guys coming along the journey with me moving, and should be pretty fun actually. It won't be super interesting because it's literally just somebody moving, but you'll be able to see me leave Houston and arrive in Kansas City, Missouri, which will be great. I'll be back home. So anyway guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you later.